Okay, now I'm ready. What's up, y'all? It's time for another story time. This story time is so bugged out, y'all. It just goes back to the notion of me always getting blamed for something that I didn't even do, but for some reason I'm just guilty all the damn time. That's basically what it goes back to. This story is about, I'm gonna say this first. When you go through a breakup, just go through your breakup. Just go through your breakup. Don't try to, force yourself on somebody else. Don't try to be out there because you don't want to be lonely or whatever. Listen, use your hand. Use your hand, use your fingers. Don't be out there, trying to meet people and shit because shit like this could happen. Because that's exactly what happened. So I'm going to give y'all the little backstory. So I had just moved into my apartment in Lefrak. I was living in Rosedale. Shout out Rosedale, Queens. Ow, 230 Merrick. But yeah, I was living over there, and then I got the job with TSA, and I moved. It was really my father's idea, but I moved because it was closer. The airport is right there in Lefrak, well, near Lefrak or whatever. So I moved and I was into this apartment or whatever, and I had just broke up with one of my ex-boyfriends. That ended, and a bitch was lonely. A bitch was lonely, and I can honestly say that this guy was a rebound. I'm gonna call him, what can I call him? I'm gonna call him Steve. Right? So I met this guy named Steve. And Steve was a security guard in what's Long Island City. And me and Steve were good. We was real, he was a nice guy. He was real nice. He was real soft spoken. I have a thing for guys that are quiet. Like, I don't like them chihuahua barking motherfuckers. It's just, nigga don't know me. I do this and I don't like that. I'm more attracted to the guys that's standing in the corner not saying nothing. So Steve was that kind of guy. And Steve was a security guard or whatever like that. We went on a couple of dates, and then I invited him over to my house. I don't remember what year this happened, but whatever year the movie Kick-Ass came out, that's when it happened. Now, I'm not big on comic books. I've never been big on comic books. I don't know nothing about no comic books. I'm not big on superheroes, on shit. I know the basics: Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. That's all I know. So he was real big on comic books. Like, he was a nerd. That's another thing that I'm kind of attracted to. I'm attracted to dudes that are like, you look at them and you wouldn't think. Like, if you look at him, you wouldn't think that he's a nerd. But he's a nerd. He was a nerd. And he was into comic books and all type of stuff like that. So he's like, Mom, bring some movies over so we can watch. And I'm like, all right, no problem. So that was one of the movies that he had bought. And this is when Kick-Ass first came out. So I'm like, okay, this ain't really my thing. I don't really like, the whole comic book type shit. That's not really my thing. I'm more into action and comedies and all type of stuff like that. My hair is tickling me, but I was more into that. But I said, I like this dude, so I'm gonna sit here and pretend to enjoy it. That's what I said I was gonna do. So we watched the movie, and I was actually feeling it. Like, I was actually paying attention to it, and he was like explaining to me like the differences between the movie and the comic book. And I was like, oh, he was like, the comic book is a little bit more detailed, but he was always like pausing the movie to like explain certain things to me, like, okay, this is what you see, but in the comic book it was like this or whatever. I was really interested. Like, he got me really interested into it. So the movie's over. We sitting there talking, cuddling, and all type of stuff. He wasn't doing nothing. We were sitting there talking and cuddling. So he's like, I feel so comfortable with you. And I'm like, okay, Poppy. Like, okay, he was a Poppy. So I'm like, yeah, that's good, Poppy. So he's like, no, I really feel comfortable with you. I feel comfortable enough to tell you the truth about myself. I'm like, what? Like, what you want to tell me? Like, I'm praying to God. I'm like, please don't let it be something bad. Like, please don't tell me, like, you on the run. You broke out of jail. You know, your job ain't really... Because I've been to his job before. So please tell me that, you know, you ain't a pimp. And that's really what you do. And he was like, no, it's nothing like that. He's like, but it's he's like, but it's not common what I do. I said, a lot of people are security guards. Like, I used to be a security guard. He's like, no, Tracy. He's like, no, that's not only what I do. Honest to God, y'all, I honestly thought he was about to tell me that he sells drugs. Like, I really thought so. He was like, you know that movie we just watched? And I'm like, kick ass. I'm like, yeah, I like that movie. He's like, that's what I do. What you mean that's what you do? He's like, that's what I do. I'm confused. I'm like, what do you... Explain yourself, because it's not clicking. Maybe I'm retarded, but it's not clicking. What you mean? He's like, all right. He's like, in not so many words, he's like, I have a group of people that late at night... Yo, as I'm saying this... As I'm saying this shit is bugging me out. He's like, I have a group of people, it's me and a group of people that at night, we patrol the Brooklyn Bridge. I said, oh, like a neighborhood watch. And he's like, no, not really like a neighborhood watch. I'm like, my nigga, like, Steve, come on, what's good? And he's like, all right. He's like, I'm a superhero. And I started laughing, y'all. I bust out laughing because I thought he was playing. He was serious, straight face. He was like, I'm a superhero. I fight crime. I said, all right, boo. He's like, no, Tracy, I'm serious. I'm a superhero. So I'm like, all right. I'm like, okay, you fight crime. He's like, nah, you don't believe me. This nigga went in his bag. He had a bag that he carried all the time. I ain't never paid no attention to it because who don't carry bags? Like, I carry, like, when I'm going to work and I'm coming home, you'll see me with a bag. And every time I saw him, he had this bag. But I didn't pay no attention to it. So he goes and he gets this bag and he pulls out these clothes. I'm like, why is he pulling out these pants and stuff? But I looked and the pants had like patches on it. It had like little like y'all know if y'all work at the airport or even not even at the airport, anywhere like on the street, if you see them guys on the street with the little orange vest and sometimes they have the yellow vest, it's like he took those vests and like cut them up into squares and like put it on his pants. And then he pulled out his shirt and his shirt had like, I don't know what the hell this was. Because it wasn't like a vest. It wasn't like a bulletproof vest. But yo, this nigga was on his blank man shit. Like, for real, son. He was on his blank man shit. He made his own costume. The nigga, he ain't had no cape. But he had like, you could tell, this ain't some shit that you walk around in public with. And in the like the little shirt or whatever, he had sewn padding into the shirt. And he had... them nunchucks. He had them shits sewn into the back. So somebody come at him, he's, you know, like that. And me being me, yo, I'm telling y'all, I love weird shit. Like, I love it. I love when people have the balls to be themselves. Like, I love it. So I'm looking at this shit like, yo, this shit is dope, yo. He's like, you really think so? He's like, you don't think I'm weird? I'm like, nah, nigga, you fight crime. Like, good job. He's like, and then that's when he started getting more into it. He's like, you see, I knew we was on the same page. I knew I could trust you and stuff. He's like, yeah. So I said, tell me about how you fight crime. I'm so fucking stupid. And honestly, God, I would do the same shit today. I was like, tell me how you fight crime. I'm like, tell me what you do. He's like, so yeah. He's like, sometimes after work or whatever, me and his, I'm like, do you know these people? He's like, no. He's like, we all come from like different boroughs. He's like, Tracy, there's a lot of us. I said, for real? He's like, Tracy, there's a lot of us. There's a lot of us out here that do what we do. You know, we want to protect New York. We want to keep New York safe. I was like, yo, that's mad dope, yo. That's real dope. So he's like, no, I don't know them. He's like, you know, we all come from different boroughs or whatever, and we all meet at a spot. And then we all do patrols. And one of the patrols that we do is on Brooklyn Bridge. I said, okay. I said, so what did you do? Like, he's like, we just walked the Brooklyn Bridge. I said, in costume and everything? He's like, it's not a costume. It's the uniform. I said, okay. All right, Steve, I'm sorry. It's not a costume. It's a uniform. I said, all right. In your uniform, you do it? He's like, yeah. He's like, we walk back and forth and we look. And if we see